Alright, hello, welcome. This is No More Paper Trading. My name's Frank. I had quite a long hiatus. Some big things happened. I still know, I realize, nobody watches this, but I don't really do it for that. Honestly, I stopped making good money. When I stopped streaming, I stopped making good money. I stopped feeling like there was someone watching me. You know, even though the stream's only, a half an hour or whatever. I don't know. It could be just coincidence, but I know I felt better about my trading when I was forced to be more professional about it. Anyway, let's get going. I'm going to be making a lot of changes. It doesn't matter because nobody's used to anything because nobody watches, but I'm going to try to actually build a community now. As we go live, there's other changes too. I switched to Sierra charts. I still use TradingView for stocks and stuff, but for futures I use Sierra charts now, which was a huge shift. Just becoming comfortable with a whole different platform it takes time, especially Sierra charts, which is an extremely advanced and complicated platform. So bear with me today as I come back. I'm doing the same things, but I'm going to be making changes. One of those changes is I no longer try to look at many different futures. I focus now just on the ES and the MES. I no longer look at the Russell, the NASDAQ, and oil and gold. I'm not sure if that added something or not. I don't know, maybe I'll add them back in, but it's just too much. Anyway, as I go live, let's check out news. It's 8:30 was the PMI. One of the things that do the things. PPI, not PMI. That was yesterday, I think. Producer Price Index, I'm guessing that's how much everything costs. Way up. I don't know if this is BLS that does this, but it's bad. I mean, we knew it would be bad. Yeah, this is BLS, so what the heck did they do yesterday? Was that them yesterday? All I worry about mostly is, when is the news event? When should I stop trading or be careful of margins? Because most brokers will increase margins around certain news events. And even if they didn't, the volatility can wipe you out really quick. So I block out those events usually. Let's take a look. What was yesterday? CPI. Consumer. Okay, so one's the consumers, one's the producers. So I'm going to understand this to mean that everyone kind of assumes these are cooked, the consumer price index. If they're not outright lies, then it's a manipulation of the data or the way it's presented to make it seem not so bad. But these numbers are pretty astronomical. And I guess the idea is that this is going to trickle down to the consumers who are going to buy less, have less purchasing power, as we have had the past 4 years, maybe even longer. There's some that say the inflationary cycle that we are in started before COVID. And incidentally, that's also the same reason why the market only seems to go up right now. I kid around, but there's some reality to it when I say that the best strategy to have right now is buy the dip. Anytime you see the market pull back and hold for a little bit, buy it. You're bound to make money. What you're going to be able to buy with that money, not much, but you're going to make money. Now, you might ask, why am I not making money? Well, because I'm starting to turn around, but because my brain still thinks logically, while the market is illogical. When I see a company not making sales, doing terribly, I'm thinking, oh, that company's bad. Their stock's going to go down. I completely forget the whole thing about free cash and how it's everywhere right now. And we've never had interest rates this low for this long, or this much capex going into everything. Among other things. I don't know everything about it, but I mean, you can only see so many earnings reports that show that consumers aren't really buying anything. It's circular financing, whatever you want to call it. As a futures trader, I need to be very neutral. But it's hard. It's difficult for me. I'm starting to get it. I'm starting to become like 80% long-only trades. I only short, well, I haven't made a set of rules yet. But there's a feeling, you'll see, when to short. I'll take a look at the charts in a minute. Let's just take a quick look at the news. The president's going to China. I'm guessing he's gonna try to get China to put pressure on Iran. Basically, he's gonna sell Americans away for a short-term political gain, just like every politician. It's the way it is. And what I find interesting is he's taking a whole bunch of tech oligarchs with him, and it just shows you the dystopia we live in now, where, I don't know if any of you have ever played Cyberpunk, but basically the premise of that game is government and local government doesn't really matter at all. It's all about the corporations. They rule. And it seems to be what we're slowly getting towards. Maybe in the near future we're going to have Jensen Huang as our president. I wouldn't be surprised. What else is here? Silver's going up. The AI build-out trade. What a load of shit. Yeah, not much here. I don't even know if refreshing is going to give us any new. Yeah, that's enough news. Can't really trust them anyway. There's a theory, I'm not saying this is how it is. There's a theory that the news will hype up long or short, one way or the other, for Wall Street, so Wall Street can sell into the volume, sell into the liquidity. So, for example, the news outlets will all say, look at AI, isn't it so great? And then it's going to give a boost to the market so that big money can get into a position to sell at a higher price. And then the opposite is true. So with that being said, don't look at sentiment. Just try to draw your own conclusions. Or just ignore it altogether and just know when there's going to be a news event so you can avoid it. The past year has been, maybe not year, ever since our current president, trading has been difficult. You get a lot more volatility spikes than you would have gotten before because he is a volatile president. Alright, enough of that. Let's look at the charts. Let's see how the market reacted to the news. This is my 5-minute ES chart. This is where I execute my trades on. And then you have the DOM over here. But this is how the market reacted to the news. Quite negative. I had a stop just below. It was somewhere in this area. I had a stop. I had bought yesterday. When price pulled back, I'm not sure what area I bought at, but yesterday when price pulled back, I bought as soon as it solidified. Well, let's take a look at how that looked on the 5-minute. This is what I mean by buy the dip. So yesterday opened up to the downside. Actually, I got a better chart for this. This is riddled with my trades. There we go. This is what I would call a developing profile. So as the day progresses, it builds the volume profile on the right edge. The white line you have is the point of control, which shows how it changes throughout the day, where it ends up, as well as value area high, value area low. And then I also plot major key areas: previous day high, previous day low, previous month's high, previous month's low. Initial balance high and low. My initial balance is 1 hour. 1 hour into the open. If you have any questions, if there is anyone watching, feel free to ask at any time. But yesterday we opened up to the downside. We had a double bottom, 73.63 area. Which I had called out much earlier, as you can see on the daily chart. On this range's volume profile, it was the value area low. It pretty much stopped right there. Nah, close enough anyway. Anyway, the fact that it stopped pretty close to there, along with this double bottom you see, the price could not push lower. I took a chance and built in a small position here of 2 contracts, 2 micros. I wish they would have been ES. two micros. I took one profit somewhere in this area, and then I let the other one ride with a trailing stop, which is where I got out here. That type of trade is rare for me. That is what I would like to be able to trade every day. But I've been having trouble, quite a bit of trouble, and I think it's due to quite a few different things. I had a large losing day, which was weird because while I was losing a lot actively trading futures, I was gaining a lot in my other investments. So it was a losing day. We'll just call it what it was. Breaking even is still a losing day when you could have been celebrating. And ever since, and at the same time, I was already integrating a switch into Sierra charts. So it was hard to get comfortable with Sierra charts, and finally it seems like I'm coming back out of it. I should note that I'm not yet trading real money on Sierra charts. I tried to initially, but once I lost a small amount, I said nope. I'm going back to paper until I can get profitable with paper. But yesterday's trade, that was done in TradingView. I used Sierra charts to observe the market. I trade SIM on Sierra charts. But I couldn't let that opportunity slide yesterday, so I traded on TradingView. Now, once I become profitable, I forget what guidelines I stated, but a month or two of profit in SIM, then I'll move the cash again. I'm just terrified of a bunch of things, and then that just eats at you. But hopefully things will work out better. I've yet to do a full observation of going into today. I forgot that I wanted to bring back streaming today, so I didn't plan it out. So I will be doing it off the cuff right now, looking at upcoming areas of concern and what might happen today. Let's take a look at, let's start with the daily. I had originally put two different types of volume bars here because, well, they show different things. One is the up-down volume difference, and the other is ask-bid volume difference. So if you haven't been sleeping under a rug, you've been aware of this gigantic, let's call it a boner, green boner, going straight up for the past month. We built a small area of range right here, which is why I have it in profile. Broke out of that range, and now we've built into this new range. So on Monday, we inched slightly higher to all-time new highs. I kind of had a feeling that we would pull back from that. at least a little bit. And then we did on yesterday. Coming to just value area low, or that general area. In the overnight, came right back up. I didn't even realize that we tested all-time new highs again, rejected it. I should have seen that rejection. I should have traded that, at least on Sim. But yesterday we were unable to bring this range's point of control down. So, despite rejecting all-time highs again, I think we're going to, maybe not today, but tomorrow or Friday, I would say we're going to try again. There's still just too much buying power in the markets. Every single drop has been bought up. All right, let's take a closer look. Now this shows regular trading hours and extended trading hours. So yesterday we had that double bottom and then basically ripped straight up from there. And then selling right before the open. But then the overnight kept going up. One thing I noticed yesterday was that kept selling under VWAPs. So I have the dark pink one is RTH VWAP that resets 1800 hours every night when the futures open. And the pink one that is supposed to reset at 9:30. But they're just VWAPs. Yeah, it should trail over into the overnight. I don't know why it doesn't. I'm still working on getting comfortable with Sierra charts, if you haven't noticed. So the overnight, we have previous day's close acting as support here at 74.26. Also, yesterday's regular trading hours high acted as support, resistance and support, resistance ones and support at 74.33. Geez, we came up just 2 ticks short of the all-time high and rejected it. I should have noticed that and took profits right there. But it doesn't matter, I took profits pretty good anyway. And due to that news, we pulled back to yesterday's initial balance high, and that's where we're holding right now. Going into today, I would say look at previous day's close as resistance. I would look for breaking that close and coming back for a pullback on any of these areas here. Also, yeah, the 74.33 area, which when we open, it'll become labeled as yesterday's high. I think it will. Whatever, either way. And then of course you have the all-time high at 74.54. If we head down, look to yesterday's initial balance low. You know what? I should do something to extend that, because that's gonna disappear when we open. I'll mess around with that maybe later. What else do we have? Oh yeah. From yesterday we have a naked value area low. I don't really think we'll get that low today. But we could. So keep an eye out for that. It's a good stopping point. And then even lower, you still have the value area low on the current range at 73.62. Other than that, you have your normal points. Point of control VWAP. I would pay attention to VWAP. If we reject VWAP, I could see us going lower. But if we break through it, might try for an all-time new high. I don't know. The old me before the giant green boner would have said, I would have been 50-50. Actually, I would have been a little bearish because of bad news, the reaction to the news. But in this environment, everything has just gone up forever and ever and ever. So who knows? And then of course, a range day is always a possibility. I don't know because of the news. Might be a lot of big money wanting to position themselves. We will see. We are in a area. We're at the POC. The range is POC. Which sits at 74.20, the larger range. So we will see. If we range, well, that's anybody's guess. I would let it establish itself first. Definitely wait for initial balance and see what happens there. See if it breaks one of the initial balances. If it bounces between them, that would be an ideal day to trade if it bounces between them. We'll see. Anytime I see a large movement, I'm looking for support or resistance. Well, actually, not right now. If we move higher and higher and higher, I am not looking for a place to short that. Been there, done that, made that mistake years ago. Do not try to find the top. Finding the bottom in a bullish market, that's different. It's not really a bottom. Well, I guess it would be. There is no exact equal to new highs for lows. I guess you could say yearly low or monthly low. We're a long way from the monthly low. Just for shits and giggles, let me see if I can find it. Wait, so Current month low right now is 71.99.50. Let me verify that. That is insane. Yeah, that's correct. Head scratching. It's the only way to describe this market. I guess you could say that about any time in history, particularly .com bubble. It's what it most likely represents. But we went from AI bubble slowly breaking to Iran war causing issues to all of a sudden the Iran war became positive news. Well, not exactly. Let's say it didn't matter anymore. At this point, bad news related to the war is just causes a little blip, which is just crazy to think about. I keep coming back to darker forces at work, but what does that mean? I try to avoid undefined things like that because I want to understand it. And I don't. It seems hard to believe that low interest rates have caused this much reaction, especially because the Fed has hinted that they're not going to lower rates. Could this all be because simply they know that the president's going to get his man on the Fed, who's just going to keep lowering rates and causing inflation? It's a shame. It's such a shame. I lost all hope in the one side of the aisle. Now I'm losing all hope in the other side. Question is, how much pain can we take before yields rise to such an extent? Well, I still don't have a good understanding of all that. Yields will fall, short-term yields, if they lower rates. But then, forgive me if I'm wrong, but then I think that means long-term rates rise. And then that causes other problems. Anyway, it's good to know some of that stuff, but it can also be bad for your trading because you'll be thinking about it when in reality, intraday, it doesn't matter. That macro stuff doesn't really matter. But I think that's it. That's all I got for today. Stay tuned. I will be back tomorrow. I hope I get at least one viewer then. Just to reiterate, my name's Frank. I want to build a community. Not a community that sells signals or memberships or anything like that. Just a group of people that want to become profitable traders. That's all I got. Good luck. Goodbye.